Welcome to another leveling video that shall serve as an update and remastered version of the first series I ever produced on YouTube and features some level ranges in a very detailed way other than my leveling guide in 5 minutes, just telling you to do this and that. Because as you may already know, leveling is a test of endurance and having some alternation is super refreshing and will bring you to your goal much easier than giving up on repeatedly doing what is supposed to be the best method. Nonetheless, I'm going to present all of the possible methods in a hierarchy of best to worst and most enjoyable to least enjoyable, so let us hop in the first 30 levels that you can beat in about 3 hours. When this is your first character that you create and first job you level, some of these aspects do work for you as well, but your main goal is to follow on the main scenario quest, which will automatically lead you into endgame without a strict pattern or need to watch any guide. Basically, just always be slightly ahead with your own level compared to the required level of the main scenario quest. But for all secondary jobs after your first, or if you're going to level up some simultaneously, this guide and series shall serve as a guideline. Starting off with some preparation before hopping in. In Final Fantasy XIV there are multiple experience points bonuses that you can get by different methods, starting with the biggest boost that you can get when your main job or any class you have already leveled up is at least one level ahead of the job or class you're going to level, which leads to a 100% bonus, the so-called Armory bonus, for all EXP rewards possible. This bonus is reduced to 50% upon reaching Shadowbringers levels, but below that this is the most essential leveling bonus you can get and should always make use of. Also note that this boost is the only one working for Fates or Levequest as well, while the next that I'm going to mention only work for Battle XP. When you're killing monsters and other enemies, which still does boost your completion time significantly with Dungeon XP, that will become one of the biggest sections of this series. The second biggest advantage will be any expansion earrings, where the Menfinna earring is the recent one that you can get by pre-ordering Endwalker. But you can also just use the Aetheryte earring or the Alamegan one, where the Alamegan one is actually the most powerful until something like level 30, because the stats you receive are stronger than the downscaled stats of the Aetheryte and Menfinna's earring. But whatever you choose, the EXP boost is much more important. Apart from that, and basically working until max level, you can join a free company with access to free company actions like Heat of Battle. Or you could let your squadron do missions to receive squadron battle manuals that unfortunately don't stack with the free company buff, but more to that on squadrons later. When you already have reached level 15 with any fighting class or job, you could also take part in the Novice Hall feature that you can enter by talking to an NPC next to an innkeeper in major cities. That will let you participate in a series of trials for beginners, where you can learn the game's basics and also get some good rewards leading to the brand new set featuring the brand new ring. That will grant you another 30% kill EXP bonus until level 30, but also some useful stats to push your overall power level. All the other parts of the brand new set will be received for the role you're doing the trial with, but don't worry about it too much, gear is not that important until reaching level 22. We are here for the ring that you should get for all jobs to level in the future. And if you're blessed with a lot of friends starting Final Fantasy XIV right now, you can recruit them to gain access to the Friendship Circle. But you should not spend too much time on this item, as the process inside the mock station to actually get it could take you longer than leveling these 25 levels. But of course, if you're planning to level more jobs, go for it. Even less in value are things like the Helm of Light or Moogle Cap that grant an EXP boost of 20% until level 10. But you will have reached level 10 in a blink of an eye, and if you want to level up multiple jobs, take the Friendship Circlet instead. And though it may sound gimmicky, the basic 3% buff to kill XP received out of any food you can get, just buy out a 99 stack of boiled eggs and you can basically have 3% more EXP all the time for nothing. Alright, last but not least, Rested bonus. While this grants an astonishing 50% boost to EXPs earned, you will eat this bonus up in no time. But still being received upon not playing the game, you can always get a slight push by sticking to a healthy sleeping schedule and continue leveling on another day. And so much for leveling bonuses. When you have chosen your job, I highly recommend to clean up your inventory to get some space for gear. Also make sure to have at least one space for gear in your armory so that you're able to actually wear the new weapon, which is the defining factor for switching to the job you're leveling. And always have some space to get new gear while leveling. And due to the fact that these levels are grinded through in a very short period of time, focus on vendor gear for the first 20 levels. Just take whatever those vendors sell in advance and change that gear whenever you did the next 2 or 3 levels. Weapons are the most necessary upgrade, but you will not see a lot of difference here as well. Okay, all preparations said and done, we're heading into our first levels from 1 to 16. So get your first job quest and take a step outside of the major starting city of the job you want to level, and basically just start killing enemies with that one ability you have. While 3 hours are easily achievable, note that doing job quests during these levels will heavily reduce your overall completion time, and I don't count them into the mix. Nonetheless, you should still do them for unlocking core features of your class and the follow-up job your class becomes at level 30, which is super important and why not taking advantage of the EXP these quests also provide in the process. So while doing the first quest that will always lead to killing bugs or other highly threatening enemies, there is one feature you should focus on these low levels, namely the hunting log, which is a list or compendium of enemies that are next to your starting capital city, the first outskirts around them, that you'll have to kill a certain number of, which then will grant you a good amount of EXP depending on the level of these enemies. This basically grants you every EXP you need until level 10 when you're doing your quest and participate in the second most important activity, namely Fates. While Fates don't offer a good amount of XP on higher levels, on these lower levels where killing enemies and Fate rewards itself can get you a whole level, they're super useful and a good pair with your hunting log, sometimes even containing targets you may need for your log. So until you have cleared your first section of the hunting log, throw whatever Fate lies next to it into the mix and swap areas when no Fate is active on the map, or none that you're able to beat with your level. Upon reaching level 10, there's a good chance to have completed the first part of your hunting log already and upgraded some equipment, so take up your job's quest and venture into the second part of your hunt journal, leading to higher level enemies inside of the starting zones as well as leading to another follow-up area featuring mobs until level 20 or higher. Of course, you should start with the final enemies in low level areas while still sticking to fates around them and then hop over to the next zone, featuring hunting targets at around 15 and upwards. But even as a non-tank and without Chocobo, targets with 2 or 3 levels beyond your own level should not become a problem, so take up that challenge and beat them with everything you have. But of course, when having a Chocobo at your side, adjust its stance according to the difficulty level of your enemies. When they will never get you below 30% HP, always go for attacker stance. When they can possibly kill you, go for free stance, but if they're constantly smashing you with "big dig damage", you should evaluate to switch to healer stance completely when you already unlocked healing abilities for your little feathery friend. Depending on the amounts of fates you have completed in the process, you should reach something like level 15 to 18 when finally killing your last mob of the Hunting Log Journal Part 2. But I highly recommend to actually stop at level 16 and most early at level 15 for the simple reason of taking another route now, namely your duty roulette leveling, and when you haven't unlocked the Copper Bell mine upon reaching level 17, you can easily take advantage of the more enjoyable dungeons like Tamtara Deepcroft and Sestasha, which will grant up to 3 levels upon their completion. So basically do them once or twice to reach level 20 or just finish the last entries of your hunting log and prepare yourself for the next stage of leveling. So, when reaching level 20 and in the best case having completed your class quest already, you can start into 2 other methods, the first being Palace of the Dead that I recommend here, except you're a tank or healer and dungeon queue times are really good. But if not, Palace of the Dead is a very good method and is unlocked at level 17 via a quest starting in New Gridania. In this deep dungeon style method of leveling, you're put into a new style of progression with a second level that only works for the areas inside of Palace of the Dead, but also grants you access to your class and job abilities like it would on leveling normally. So on higher levels you could actually get access to abilities to test them out, but as your class is limited, this makes more sense when unlocking your job crystals to gain access to job abilities as well. Nonetheless, the first stages, so the level ranges and dungeons from level 1 to 50 really suck and don't provide a solid amount of XP, so my tip here is to unlock the second stage, namely levels from 50 and upwards, because they provide a much higher XP reward and queue times for this sort of content are much faster, basically because they're much more profitable and people know that. So if you have access to this stage and find yourself on level 20 with long queue times, go for it even if you haven't unlocked your class yet. But remember to always activate and head to the passage stone as quickly as possible to not waste time for other things on each floor. Okay, coming to the other alternative, which is a topic you should not hesitate to start with early on, namely your squadron or command missions. And while the prerequisites are a bit more difficult here and you should definitely check out Wesk Alba's or Lucid Faith video found in the description, you basically have to reach 2nd Lieutenant with your Grand Company. Nevertheless, it is worth doing and investing time into leveling your squadron and equipping them with proper traits, so after unlocking the command mission feature, You're able to venture into most of the dungeons until level 60 with an AI-based team that you can set together in the usual formats, always filling up the blank spaces with those jobs your job or class is missing. While doing this as a tank is the most easy and enjoyable way, this is even more useful for DPS job because you can skip a heavy load of waiting times in queues and get into dungeons whenever you want and have the company seals to pay for it. But don't worry about these seals too much, you can trade in any form of colored gear to get them back with expert deliveries at your Grand Company vendors, including gear you get from these command missions. And even if these AI squad members can be dumb as hell, you have some control skills or buttons to make use of commanding them. I guess that is the reason for these missions to be called command missions. Nonetheless, as enemies in dungeons provide the most EXP you can get, when having a solid party at your side, even a slightly worse AI party can get you to the goal. Also make sure that at times when you're not playing for more than 18 hours, send them onto Squadron missions to get up your stacks of Squadron battle manuals and level them up in the meantime of your absence. But when you're struggling with this step in the first dungeon or general hesitation is shown before actually trying it, just wait until you reach level 22 and get yourself a whole set of Grand Company equipment from the vendor standing before your Squadron hall, which offers many very strong set bonuses that will heavily improve the strength of your character, and they only cost some company seals, which you can get for fates or the already mentioned expert deliveries. But so much for Squadrons for now. Surely you can level up in dungeons normally with real people participating, and I personally do like that sort of shared responsibility environment, but this aspect heavily depends on queuing times and is much more in favor of tanks and healer jobs. But even as a DPS, you could easily queue up and do some fates or hunting log while waiting. However, on level 26, even if Mr. Happy recommends this step on level 16 already, but personally there are some reasons why you should not start with this on low levels. But yeah, we're talking about Adamantoise tiers, which is a Levequest in Camp Tranquil in South Shroud, where your Levequest allowances come into play that will regenerate automatically on a daily basis. I highly recommend to avoid this exact method if you're also planning to level up gatherer or crafting jobs, because there you may be able to utilize these Levequest allowances in a much better way and value. So only do this step if you have a whole lot of these allowances stacked anyway and you're not interested in leveling crafters or gatherers in the close future. Yet this is the best moment to spend them and taking a break from the whole dungeon grind, simply from the fact that you're doing this Levequest on a maximum level. That means you can adjust the max level of Levequest and get better rewards, which of course and in usual Levequest would lead to a much harder challenge, but in this one specifically we're actually not fighting at all. So navigate towards that area shown in the video, start the Levequest, and before looting the first egg, activate your sprint ability to get the full 20-second bonus instead of the reduced 10-second one when being in combat. Because looting the first egg will spawn a large turtle putting you into combat that you just want to leave alone and head towards the next egg as fast as possible. Most of the times there will be 2 of these eggs in the next spots, so make sure to already locate your mouse cursor precisely on the second egg or third egg when looting the first, so that you're not unintentionally click auto attack on the big turtle that spawns. But if it does happen, just stun it or let your Chocobo build up some enmity and move forward to the next egg spawn location. So with a good pace and speed you can easily get these done in around 40 to 60 seconds without a single fight, but due to a very close proximity of random enemies right next to the quest location, this is one of the reasons why you should not do this on a very early level. But the main reason is that you cannot continue doing this Levequest over and over again. After you did it multiple times, the quest NPC Mirthlin won't list it in the Levequest tab anymore, so you have to do another Levequest instead for resetting the whole listing process. Therefore take one of these up and do them on the lowest difficulty level, often throwing in some level 27 foes at you, that are easily dealt with on level 26 or higher, but can be super complicated to complete on levels below 20. So this and random mobs in this area can become super dangerous. So start this at level 26 and do this until max 36, but mainly stick to dungeons and Squadron dungeons, or Palace of the Dead in the 50+ stage, and when reaching level 30, don't forget to do all of your class quests to become the respective job, while unlocking new abilities and skills that are important for the journey that lies ahead. But still, without counting in class and job quests and not doing this on stream, being distracted by some awesome conversations with your amazing viewers, you can easily complete these first 30 levels in around 3 hours. So choose the class you want and take up the journey to become the job that your heart desires. And for the next level, stick around for the next part of the series. But for now, have a lot of fun with the first 30 levels of your journey. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.